In front of you stands the tall queen. You can but lower your head, fit only to smirk at her soiled feet.
Can that be Doris Fletcher's voice? Where does it come from? I can't believe I'm doing this. It's locked, all right.
Who are you? You who dared enter my realm. Are you here to worship or mock me?
I'm here to put an end to the vampire epidemic, Miss Fletcher.
Ah. But Doris Fletcher is no more. She was consumed by this putrid flesh that now enshrouds her.
You feel anger for what happened to you, but I can help you. I'm a doctor, Miss Fletcher.
Doris Fletcher is no more. All that remains are the dreams of the queen she was, and the queen she'll be. Until then, all shall die, for that was her final wish. Woe unto my children, my beloved, die for the love of me. Ha! I smell your fear.
Attack!
Behold, Kinslayer, the disgrace of she who was once renowned. Will she be the queen again once they all share her fate? Come to me, my servants! Avenge me! Your blood will... Wait. I beg you, wait.
What?
I don't want to die.
And I did not come to kill you, Miss Fletcher.
Will you spare me then? Save this cadaverous carcass of mine. Does your heart beat a little faster now? You fancy me then, Doctor?
No, Miss Fletcher. My dead heart will beat for only one.
Ah! Is she pretty? Is she sweet and tender?
To me, yes.
Ah! I hate her already.
I know. And this is partly why you must be destroyed.
But you just said...
That I did not come here to kill you, yes. But I realize now the threat you embody must be stopped.
Will I be remembered? Will you?
You were Doris Fletcher. The greatest actress of her generation. No one can take that from you.
Thank you. And farewell. Ah! Ah! Ah!
Farewell, Doris.
Bravo! So dramatic. I love it.
McCullum!
How strange I seem to find you whenever I'm inquiring about that skull infestation.
I mean you no harm.
I'm not here for you. But once I've put all the pieces of the puzzle together, I'm sure we'll have a little chat, you and me.
Stay away from me, McCullum. You and all your war dogs.
That I can't guarantee, Dr. Reed. But I'll let you go. For now.
I should probably leave the theater right now. The West End should be safe now. But London is not. It would be wise to benefit from the Ascalon's protection while I continue my research during the Great Hunt. These people want me dead. I need to leave now. So Doris just needed to be close to her audience to infect them. Contagion through skin. Very disturbing. It's locked.
Swanborough cordial. Good evening, my dear colleague.
How is the sanitary situation evolving in Whitechapel these days?
When people buy guns instead of medication, it means they have already traded hope for fear in their hearts. In my book, that's never a good thing, Doctor.
I'd like to see what kind... Good evening, Harry.
Sure. Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So, may I ask you,
I'm not bothered.
do you need any medical help, young man?
Yes, I do. I feel so tired. I don't know if it's the epidemic, but everything seems so hard.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip, young man. Medication alone won't cure melancholia.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of...
Goodbye.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
Good evening, Xiaoshun.
晚上好, Dr. Reed. It's good to see you again.
What are you doing with your time, now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to help the poor and sick of the neighborhood by handing out medicine.
That's very charitable of you. But why do it at night?
I've noticed that the most desperate people tend to go out after dark. Hence my presence, to help them when I can.
Giving out medicine? How can you afford to do that?
I am a rich widow, Dr. Reed. My departed husband left me enough money to last the rest of my life. I can spend some on those who don't have any.
Why don't you move to a better neighborhood?
I thought about it, I confess. To go back to the same empty home every day still hurts me a lot.
Why stay here then?
I am a woman of habit, Dr. Reed. And for now, I am happier being useful in a familiar place than I would be anywhere else.
How do you feel now that you're back in Whitechapel?
I've decided to follow your advice, sir. I won't forget the dead, but my efforts will be for the living.
I've no doubt. That is a wise and useful attitude in this part of town.
To be completely honest with you, I'm also doing this for myself. If I'm destined to survive this epidemic, I need my life to have some purpose.
Do you still think about your departed husband?
Of course I do. I'll never forget my beloved Matthew, but how do I put it? Now I miss him more than I want him back.
I know what you mean. And I think it means you're getting better.
Maybe death will take me the way it took Matthew. Without warning and without mercy. But until then, I live on.
How is the sanitary situation evolving in Whitechapel these days?
My only relief is that my Matthew died before seeing the madness that approaches. I'm afraid we won't survive this trial, Dr. Reed.
How do you feel? Physically speaking, I mean.
I don't feel good, Dr. Reed. Not at all.
You should recover quickly after taking this.
Thank you, Doctor.
Goodbye for now.
What news, Jonathan? I've heard you've now joined the vampire elite of London.
Did Elizabeth tell you?
So it's Elizabeth now. My. Things are moving quickly. I turn my back for a moment and away you go.
Have you seen Lady Ashbury recently?
Yes, she popped in yesterday. Told me about your new friends in the West End.
Just a courtesy visit, then.
Yes. And no. She was en route to the docks, I think, following a lead concerning your maker.
I may have found the source of the contagion. Doris Fletcher, the actress. Thankfully, in the end, she was destroyed by fire.
Really? Oh, please, do tell me more.
Doris was a heavily mutated skull. Almost a new breed entirely. It's as if the disease had completely altered her mind and body. Highly contagious.
As if the disease had taken control of her will?
Yes. Once a beautiful and brilliant woman, she became motivated by hate alone.
Oh, she was a beauty. I met her when she visited the hospital to cheer up the sick. Too bad the fire destroyed her. But it was probably for the best.
Have you heard of similar cases?
No, I don't think so. Except, perhaps, it reminds me of an old report from the Brotherhood. Well, more an article, really.
What was it about?
The author, a friar, referred to a rare form of contagion in a skull he observed during the Black Death. The carrier was always female. They called them icors.
How's the situation at the Pembroke?
We're still holding out. Question is, for how long? What we really need is hope, Jonathan. Hope for a better tomorrow.
I'll come back later. Thank you, Edgar.
Always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir. So it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir. And I thank you for your generous donation.
It's locked, all right.
Gone. The daily routine.
Benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, Mr. God.
I'm okay.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you then.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
Do you need any help?
Thank you, Dr. Reed, but you've done an...
I have to go.
Good evening, sir. Doctor. I'm all right. Don't waste
Good evening,
your time
Doctor.
with me.
How is my son doing?
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
I have to go.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
What a blundering idiot.
I'm quite busy.
I know that you're a busy man,
But I could use your help and advice.
The great Dr. Reed honors me with a request. What is it exactly?
Dr. Strickland devised an experimental drug for the Spanish flu that he asked me to manufacture.
You know what I think of fringe medical experimentation?
That's exactly why I want you to keep the result, Doctor. I made sure it won't harm anyone, but I'd like you to take care of it.
I see. Put it in my cabinet. I'll give you the key. I'll make sure no one uses this medication by mistake.
I'll do that. Thank you for your help, Dr. Ackroyd.
Thank you for your trust on the matter, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for...
So many dead. Don't waste still more coming.
Good evening.
And good evening to you.
Goodbye.
How long must I wait, damn it? Believe me.
Good evening, Doctor.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir. What they possessed could be useful for the living. And I'm sure they would agree if they could speak.
You should show respect for the dead. What about their loved ones who may treasure these items you sell?
The bodies I watch over are the unwanted and undesired, sir. I would never deprive anyone of their family artifacts.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidam. Hello again, Mr. Thatcher.
Yes, this neighborhood may stink of dog shit and reek of piss, but to me it smells like the purest mountain air.
Do you need medical attention?
Don't get me wrong, sir. I'm grateful for what you've done, but I've never felt comfortable with doctors.
I will see you later. Goodbye, Mr. Thatch. Good evening.
Evening, Doc.
Goodbye.
Easy does it, boys. We can deal with this, Bernie. Fuck, he's dead! You...
Someone's... You again. What do you want?
Do you need medical help, sir?
Yeah, I do. If you can throw in some drugs, I can find use for that too.
So you can sell them on the black market? Sorry. I'll only provide you with exactly what you need.
Fair enough, Dr. Reed. Don't cost me nothing to ask.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby.
Pleasure, sir. Been a while since we've seen any new faces round here.
Hypocrites all. Maggots and liars.
It's locked, all right.
Lost boys will be more fitting now.
Welcome back, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mr.
Maggots and liars.
He's dead!
I cannot enter.
Someone you're
Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
I've been formally asked to witness your triumph, my dear. After all, isn't it the natural role of a woman to support her man in victory?
But it's you who insisted I join the Ascalon.
Please forgive my giddiness. I'm just overcome by the thrill of finally being allowed within these hallowed halls.
You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times.
And the same to you, Jonathan Reed. Now go have your little chat with the chairman. I can see he's practically bursting to hear your report.
Welcome back to the Ascalon Club, Lance-Bearer. Please, tell us the good news. Have you put an end to the epidemic?
My hypothesis was correct. Doris Fletcher was the source of the contagion in this part of town. She was probably the first to be infected.
And you cleansed her before the hunters, I've been told. Well done, Dr. Reed. You thrust your lance and pierced the very heart of the corruption.
I'm just a doctor.
The important thing is, we won a major battle for the survival of London. For that, we salute you.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, I have another task for you. One of the utmost importance. Perhaps even more so than the previous.
I'm listening.
It's time for you to perform a most sacred duty for the club. I want you to recruit a new vampire.
Recruit a new vampire? Are you sending me on some sort of diplomatic mission?
Not exactly. I want you to make Aloysius Dawson the Ekon he deserves to be.
I'm not sure I'm the best candidate for such a task.
I can hear the hesitation in your voice, Dr. Reed. I admire a man of principles. But in this matter, there is more at stake than your moral comfort.
It's not a moral question, Lord Redgrave. It's the responsibility of giving immortality to a man I barely know.
Nonsense. Aloysius has been a member of the Ascalon for years. This is but the fruition of a long-held plan.
How would you like me to proceed?
Aloysius is waiting for you at the Dawson estate. Once the deed is done, I'll join you there to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Before I go, I have a few questions.
All right, I'm listening.
Why Aloysius Dawson?
Because he is about to die. And he just may be the most influential man in England. After me, of course.
Did he choose me?
No, I did. My decision is very recent, to say the least, but it is entirely mine.
Does he know I'm coming?
He can't wait to become your progeny, Dr. Reed. Especially now that you have shown how strong your lineage is through your sister.
You invited Lady Ashbury. Wouldn't that be breaking one of your cardinal rules? No women allowed.
Not allowed as members, no. But considering the circumstances, I thought you'd like to have her here to witness your triumph.
So it's a temporary admittance, then?
Something of a bargain, considering the crisis we're currently facing.
How would you like me to proceed?
Don't worry. Aloysius has had many years to prepare himself. He has studied our kind for decades.
So shall I just let him drink my blood?
Yes. Aloysius will gratefully sup on your blood. His heart will slow, then stop. But he will rise again as one of us, an immortal.
Is there any danger?
Our blood alters a mortal body so deeply that some don't survive the metamorphosis. They die for good. But Mr. Dawson has been preparing himself for a long time.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Understandably, you have questions.
You invite...
Not a
So it's...
something of... Don't worry.
Goodbye.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Have a drink and enjoy this night, for it could be our last.
Are you all right, Jonathan?
Lord Redgrave has just ordered me to turn Aloysius Dawson, to make him my progeny.
I see. And how do you feel about this?
I'd like your advice on the matter.
The real question here is, why has his lordship given you this task?
Do you think it's some sort of trap?
Do you really want to know what I think about this?
I do, yes.
To make an immortal of a soulless blackguard like Aloysius Dawson will only lead to a disaster for London. The man is already dead inside.
Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turn the man into a vampire himself.
Don't you dare, my dear. According to what I've recently discovered, his lordship could kill you for even broaching the subject.
Really? Why?
I've recently found proof that the Earl of Bristol is of lesser lineage and only capable of creating skulls.
Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
As long as you lower your voice.
What would you have me do about Dawson?
The man is dangerous. Did you know he plans to build a wall to separate the healthy rich from the sickly poor? Do not make him your progeny.
What would you do?
The man's dying already. Let the Reaper harvest the rotten fruit that is his soul.
What would happen if I made Dawson an Ekon like myself?
You would add a powerful immortal into a suffering world. An immortal who already craves authority.
Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path.
Mr. Dawson spent his life searching for a way to cheat death. I'm sure he has spent decades dreaming of how he'd spend eternity as a tyrant.
Are you sure your information about Redgrave is correct? He says he's the progeny of the great knight William Marshall, who lived some 9 centuries ago.
That's a lie. Lord Redgrave is unable to create anything but skulls, if the poor souls survive at all.
How can you be sure the information was correct?
I made the acquaintance of a most interesting informer while investigating your maker, from whom I learned the truth about Lord Redgrave.
Why so vindictive? You suddenly sound like you're angry.
Forgive me, Jonathan. I hate myself for it, but I feel such pride in my discovery. I'm afraid I just can't help it.
Which is?
He did serve William Marshall. And yes, the blood he covets as a token does truly belong to that legendary knight. But he was never his progeny. His lineage is not so noble.
Goodbye for now, Elizabeth.
Goodbye, my dear. Please, be careful.
as long as I've been a member, I've never seen so few vampires attending the club nights.
It looks like vampires have to obey Mendel's laws when producing progeny. Powers pass from one generation to another. That's why Dawson wants me to sire him.
Support the equality between men and women.
Good evening, Miss Ashbury.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed.
What do you know about Aloysius Dawson?
That man is a tyrant. The embodiment of greed and selfishness. All I despise about this country.
Goodbye, Charlotte. Give my...
She's...
Happy to help.
How dare you interfere with my hunt?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Do you need help, sir?
I think I'm fine. But what happened to my jailer? Be careful. He's as vicious as he is strong.
You don't have to worry about him anymore.
What happened here?
I am Tadao Kimura. I was imprisoned by this lunatic for several days. I thought I was going to die here.
You're not going to die now, Mr. Kimura. If you hurry, you should be able to get home safely.
It seems that I owe you my life. You have all my gratitude, Dr. Reed, since it is the most precious thing I possess.
Goodbye, Mr. Kimura. Take care.
He's dead! I'll kill it!
It's locked, all right. I should find another way to get into the neighborhood. I think this passage could lead me close to Aloysius Dawson's mansion.
Your prey is mine now! You're mine! Stupid newborn!
I have this thirst for blood. I can't believe I'm doing this.
I will crush you! You shall live!
Louise's father was determined to find and save her. I cannot enter. It's locked. I cannot enter.
Stupid newborn!
How long are you gonna keep up here?
You're feeble!
Let me go, you bastard!
Miss Teasdale, are you all right?
How do you know my name? Who are you?
My name is Dr. Reed. I managed to track you down thanks to your father.
So my father really was looking after me. This man, this vampire told me my father was dead. Is it true?
I'm afraid so, miss. I'm so sorry for your loss. But you are free to go, as your abductor is no more.
I suppose my jailer also killed my father, didn't he?
Thankfully, he did not search your father's corpse, where I found his notes describing where he might find you. You should read them.
I must find my father's body. He deserves a proper burial.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale. And be careful. Until we meet again. Good evening, sir. I am Dr. Jonathan Reed. Do you need my help?
Yes, please. Would you be kind enough to tell me what the time is?
That's all you need to know.
Well, is it not important to know? As important as where you are? Or who you are?
I suppose you're right. And who are you then, sir?
I am Agamemnon Baker. Like my brother, I think we need to leave this city immediately. And my brother and I rarely agree on anything.
May I ask what you're doing outside at this hour of night?
I don't know. You should ask my brother instead. It was his idea in the first place.
You must have your own ideas.
From what I have managed to understand, I guess we're supposed to wait here. Waiting for someone to come.
Who are you waiting for, exactly?
The more I think about it, the more I believe it's not exactly a person we are waiting for.
But what else could it be, then?
I don't know. A feeling? An event? An impulse? How can I tell? Something that would allow us to leave this trap.
I'm afraid I'm not following you. What kind of trap are you talking about?
Have you ever felt like life trapped you in a role that does not fit you. That you are not in your place. That sort of trap.
Trap? And you think leaving London will free you?
At least it will give us the chance to be free. That's more than our present situation. Hope, Doctor. Hope is what truly drives mankind.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Baker. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I be of assistance?
Dr. Reed? Dr. Reed?
Is there anything wrong?
No, it's just... your name sounds familiar. And your face. Have we met before?
I think I would remember. So I suppose the answer is no.
That's odd. I'm certain I've already heard of you. My name is Pericles Baker. Does that mean anything to you?
I'm afraid not, sir. But it's a pleasure to meet you anyway.
The pleasure is mine, I guess. I only wish I could remember when it was that we met.
Who are you waiting for? I'm sure he has a name.
I really can't answer that question, since I don't know that person.
And why is that?
This person is mostly my brother's acquaintance. I don't even know his real name. Only that this man could help us leave this city once and for all.
But why would you need this person's help to leave London anyway?
Well, I thought we should have left this cursed place already, but my brother convinced me to stay a while longer, and here we are.
Do you need my medical attention, sir?
No, I just need...
Goodbye, Mr. Baker.
Good evening, sir. May I ask you what you're doing here at this late hour?
I'm conducting an investigation about the epidemic in this part of town.
And who are you, sir?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed from the Pembroke Hospital. May I ask who you are and why all the questions?
I'm Detective Inspector Charles Albright from Scotland Yard. And I don't find your answers convincing. What is a Pembroke doctor doing in the West End at this time of night?
I'm here on my own, sir. I have no official appointment other than my desire to save lives.
Then we have the same objective, sir. The difference is, to catch my suspects, I use a magnifying glass and handcuffs instead of a microscope.
Do you know anything in particular about a man called Aloysius Dawson?
Who doesn't know the man? I think he intervened personally to put an end to the police strike of last August.
What else can you tell me about him?
Aloysius Dawson is exactly the kind of powerful and influential man who could commit murder and get away with it, with just one phone call.
What can you tell me about this district?
I'm the one asking questions, especially when there's a killer on the loose.
What killer?
I'm not going to discuss that with the civilians, sir.
Haven't I told you about the investigation I'm conducting? Perhaps I could help you.
All right, without giving you too much information, I'll tell you this. I'm convinced there is a homicidal maniac on the loose, using the epidemic to disguise his kills.
And what about the epidemic?
We both know the situation is critical, don't we, Doctor? Colleagues of mine die almost every day.
Tell me all you know about that homicidal maniac you're looking for.
I'm not even sure there is only one. The wounds are always the same, but the modus operandi varies. Sometimes violent and brutal,
sometimes precise and swift.
How could different killers inflict the same wounds?
That's my main problem. If my theory is correct, maybe we're facing a group of individuals sharing the same violent tendencies. Perhaps a sadist cult.
What are you investigating, exactly?
I currently have a few missing persons cases. Mr. Tadao Kamura and Miss Louise Teasdale. I'm afraid they may have been abducted by my mysterious maniac.
Tell me about Louise Teasdale.
She's a waitress. Her father reported her missing. We don't have enough men to search for her, sadly.
Do you have any idea where she could be?
No. But
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Good evening, Miss Price. How are you tonight?
Dr. Reed, I didn't know you had returned from the war. I had a new doctor when you left, but he's not as kind as you.
Always glad to see a former patient in good condition. It's been a long time.
Too long indeed. And as a token of my appreciation, I'll grant you the best price if you fancy buying anything from my humble shop.
Do you know Aloysius Dawson?
Everybody knows him. He's only been to my shop once, though, looking for rare books and other intriguing antiques.
Did he buy something from you?
No, he left quickly. He almost laughed at my goods. Mr. Dawson may be a rich man, but you can't buy good manners.
But isn't Aloysius Dawson known for his philanthropy?
That was before his brother Robert died in an aeroplane crash. Since then, the remaining twin has turned into a heartless tycoon.
Does your daughter still worry you, Miss Price? I remember you were often concerned about her health when she was younger.
Have you not seen Carol since you returned? She's almost a young woman now. But she'll always remain my sweet little baby.
So you're less afraid?
Some things never change. Carol is still too clumsy for her own good. Sometimes her innocence puts her in real danger.
Why would her innocence put her in danger?
She does not realize how cruel life can be. Maybe I was a bad mother to protect her too much. My poor dear Carol.
You have every reason to be cautious, Miss Price. Especially in these difficult times.
Maybe you could talk with her, Dr. Reed. It would be nice to have a man here more often. We would both feel safer.
Do you need my medical attention, Miss Price?
Oh no, I'm fine, Dr. Reed. Perfectly fine. But thank you so much for taking care of me.
May I look at your goods, Miss Price?
It's always a pleasure to have you here, Dr. Reed. Take all the time you need.
Good evening, Miss Price. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you remember me?
Dr. Reed? Yes, of course. You are the doctor who healed me and my mum. Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Good to see you too, Carol. Are you all right?
Oh, yes. I did not hurt myself recently. I know how to take care of myself now. I'm almost a grown-up.
Have you ever met the famous Aloysius Dawson?
Yes. A very strange man. Not very nice.
What do you mean?
He said he was ready to pay good money for rare books, and then laughed at what we showed him.
Do you enjoy working with your mother?
Oh yes, Doctor. My mother raised me alone after my father died. We've always lived together, and she has always watched over me.
Do you remember your father?
No, I was just a baby then. My mother always told me how strong and good he was.
Do you ever think about getting married now you're a woman?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. Mum always says I'm still a child who has no idea how tough life can be. No husband would like a clumsy girl like me.
Goodbye, Carol.
Good morning.
Dr. Reed.
Good evening, sir.
I am glad to see you again.
It's locked. It's locked, all right. Dawson's mansion. Here I am at last. But the question remains, am I ready to make a dying man my progeny? It's locked.
Finally, you're here, Dr. Reed. What took you so long?
I had to pass several of your barricades and outposts to access your mansion, sir.
Death, pestilence surround us, and time is against me.
I see you've gathered some of the most expensive, albeit experimental, blood transfusion equipment available. All this could be so useful in a hospital.
Yes, yes. Since Lord Redgrave sent me a doctor to perform my conversion, I thought you might find some of these devices useful.
Most thoughtful. But tonight I'm not here as a physician.
But I feel reassured that a specialist such as yourself would help me to escape the Reaper.
Very well. But before I proceed, I have a few questions for you.
If you must, but be quick, for I don't have much time left in this life.
First of all, I need to be sure that you know exactly what is going to happen to you, sir.
I can assure you I'm as informed as any man can be. I have planned for this moment, Dr. Reed. Planned very carefully.
Sir, I'm going to end your life. Do you not wish to discuss the procedure for even a minute?
I don't have a minute to indulge in idle chatter. I can't feel my legs, and the cold, so cold.
I will become your maker. Do you understand what that means?
Well, I certainly won't consider you my liege, or some such drivel. You can be assured of that.
You'll need to feed on warm blood. Blood from mortals. How do you feel about that?
I'm rich, Dr. Reed, and powerful. I'm sure I'll be able to acquire all the blood I need without ever having to sully my own hands.
What do you know about the Guard of Priwen?
What I do know is that I'll crush anyone or anything that would dare to oppose me.
Let's move on then.
Please, I'm cold and tired. I feel my life waning with every moment.
But first, before you embrace immortality, what would you do with such a gift?
That's a rather impertinent question, Dr. Reed. And I will do as I please.
Answer me all the same. What will your first action be as an immortal?
To save London. I will finance the most efficient quarantine ever seen. I will build a wall that will separate the sick boroughs from the healthy ones.
Who gave you the right to decide the fate of thousands of people?
My money. My money and my pending immortality gives me the needed authority, Doctor. I'm a businessman. I'm used to tough decisions.
You really plan to build a quarantine wall across London?
Yes, it will be tall and strong, separating the wheat from the chaff.
By doing so, you will also create 2 separate prisons.
Come, sir. An eminent doctor like yourself knows that such radical measures have proved efficient in the past.
Let me guess. You mean to isolate the rich from the poor?
This is a desperate measure for desperate times. England must prevail, Doctor, no matter the cost.
Quarantine is not a bad idea, medically speaking. But I'm convinced this epidemic will not be contained by mere walls.
As long as the right people are on the right side of the wall, that's all that matters.
But you can't guarantee infection will not spread. Just one contagious carrier would be enough to create an apocalypse.
The apocalypse is already knocking at the gate. We must be strong now.
What if a new outbreak happens inside your walls? You'll have created a giant trap.
That won't happen. As long as we dispose of anyone that is contaminated as soon as they are spotted.
I've heard enough. It's time to proceed.
At last. All right, do what you have to do. If it hurts, so be it. I've been preparing such a long time for this.
You don't deserve immortality, Mr. Dawson.
What? What are you prattling on about?
I don't believe I've ever met a man so bereft of empathy. You, sir, are despicable.
No! Wait! You can't! I made a deal with Lord Redgrave. I'll finance whatever he wants. Please, just ask him.
Sleep now. Rest now. Forever.
I would have lived forever. Who are you to decide my fate? Who gave you the authority?
Is it done, Dr. Reed? Is Aloysius Dawson reborn as expected?
Alas, Aloysius Dawson was not brought back to life after his death. The man is gone.
What? What happened?
He didn't survive the procedure. He was too weak.
This is unacceptable, nevertheless. You were given the simplest task.
Well, get rid of me then.
From now on, you're an outcast. Banished. You are forbidden to ever appear in front of us again. Ascalon will smite you on sight, and your heart will be thrown to the rats.
I'll leave you then. Have fun with your puppets and shadow plays, Lord Redgrave.
Yes, go, traitor, and take that awful creature, that counterfeit of a woman I saw waiting for you, and be gone!
We meet again at the strangest of times, young Ekon. So do you serve the Earl of Bristol now?
Old Bridget. What are you doing here?
Your friend, the wise Ekon. She sent me to warn you.
Did anyone see you? It's a long way from the dock sewers, and hunters are patrolling the streets here.
Who said I took the streets? How do you think I survived for centuries in this city without ever being seen? I know all her secrets.
How did you meet Lady Ashbury?
She came to us in the sewers in search of answers. Just as you did.
What kind of answers did you give her?
I knew nothing of your maker, but we talked. We talked a lot. Her words and ideas are captivating. It is no surprise that you like her. I like her too.
Lady Ashbury in the sewers? Now that's a sight I wish I'd seen.
She said she was your friend, and that she sought the identity of your maker. So I answered her questions.
Lady Ashbury? You know her? Tell me what's going on.
The lady approached me but a few nights ago, wanting to meet the sewer skulls. Once she questioned Harriet Jones. She agreed to help us.
Harriet Jones is still with you then? How is she doing?
Harriet remains angry, but is recovering slowly. Her mind is twisted, but at least her body is healing.
Tell me what is going on.
The lady asked us to keep an eye on your mortal doctor friend while you were away. We spotted the hunters. They were discussing plans to attack tonight.
Wait! Slow down! I need to ask you something.
I'm listening, but I do not have time to waste, so be quick.
Where is Lady Ashbury right now?
She said she will go home. She needed to speak with some old friends first, though. Do not worry, young Ekon. She is no fool, and just as strong as you.
How did Elizabeth find you?
She presented herself humbly at our gate, and asked if we knew of any ancestral vampires hiding in London. She asked about Ascalon. She asked about many things.
What do you think of her?
Her soul is good, yet tainted with a deep sadness and the scars of ancient wounds. Time does that to us immortals, for we have so much to dwell upon.
Why did she come to you?
I am Old Bridget, the buried memory of the city. She sought the silent truths, truths I have kept hidden for so long.
Why do I feel like Lord Redgrave was particularly irritated to see you? Far more so than the average skull, if I may say.
Because I used to know him quite well, and he is afraid I may remember who he really is.
You're Elizabeth's informant. You're the one who told her about Lord Redgrave's lies regarding his lineage.
Yes, but my words were not meant to hurt or threaten. I simply told the story of the sewer skulls, and of so many other forgotten children.
No time to lose, then. I must go there right away.
I shall return to my den. Have you a message for the lady? Should I see her before you?
Yes. Tell her I love her.
Is this still unknown to her? Go now and take care, young Ekon, for the flames are rising.
I should look into it.
Good evening, Mr. Petrescu. How do you feel, Mr. Petrescu?
I would not even accept fresh water.
Yes, you do. Please, take this. You'll feel better.
I said I don't want anything.
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu.
Good evening.
I'd like to see...
Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match for the stronger cordial.
Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Do you need any assistance, Miss Popper?
It depends.
I am shocked.
Forgive me.
Goodbye.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you.
If you...
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Londoners are no match for me!
Steady, boy! Shit! Bloody leech!
Elizabeth, I'm so happy to see you. I was so concerned.
It is also good to see you in these darkened hours. Is all well, my dear?
Indeed, we stand upon the precipice. Has the news reached you of Edgar Swansea?
No. I returned home but moments ago. What of him?
Your friend, the well-informed Old Bridget, tells me the Guard of Priwen has assaulted Pembroke. I fear Edgar tops their bloody list.
Bridget? She is such a tragic figure. And yet, I sense deep inside, she has a delicate, fragile soul.
Indeed, she has. I'm glad you like her too.
Once this is all over, I will study the sewer skalls. I fear I have made terrible mistakes, founded upon erroneous preconceptions.
I was concerned for your safety. McCullum draws too close to you for my comfort.
Fear not. I've evaded the hunters for many a year, and I intend to stay far from their gases, flames, and spikes. Now, speak to me of Dawson.
Aloysius Dawson is no more. I took care of him.
I imagine the Lord Redgrave was spitting teeth.
Ascalon has defrocked me and threatens to hound me from the city. This was, no doubt, inevitable.
You did what you thought was right at the time. One can ask no more. The important task now at hand is to help poor Edgar.
Now I am assured of your safety. That is precisely my intention.
Good. Now go, my dear, and return with good news with the greatest haste.
It's locked, all right. What is this trunk?
Die, vermin!
Are the vampires here?
Look at him! Die, vermin!
Easy does it, boys. Deal with this. It's all you to share. Bloody leech!
Fight for this!
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you require...
Thank you.
Goodbye. Those bastards. What have they done to Edgar? Looks like he's wounded. I better follow the blood.
Ultraviolet curtains and orichalcum powder. Dr. Swansea's always been a resourceful bastard. I bet he never told you he had this installed in case of a vampire attack. Says a lot about how much he trusts you.
What have you done with Edgar?
Don't worry. We don't kill humans. Even if your friend is deserving of a little punishment for what.
What are you talking about?
We know everything. Swansea and you created this bloody epidemic. You aim to unleash another disaster, just like William Marshall did.
No, I'm trying to put an end to it, just like you are.
You're its progeny, aren't you? Where is the monster hiding? It It's still in England, isn't it?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Jeffrey, please listen to me.
No tricks. That shit won't work on me. We've found proof in the theater. Doris Fletcher was your first experiment. Now where is Marshall? Speak! So much for modern technology. Time for the tried and true. Do you know what this is, Beast? This is a drop of King Arthur's blood. The blood of a true defender of Britain. Stronger than your evil powers.
This is ridiculous. We're losing precious time.
True enough. Soon I'll bring your head before your coward of a father. True light will cleanse you. Come on, Reed. Try something else. Close your eyes! This is gonna hurt. Freewind prevails! The blood of a true defender of this land will protect me. Show some style. Your poisonous bite is useless on me. Come on, Reed. Try something else. Close your eyes! This is gonna hurt. Freewind prevails! The blood of a true defender of this land will protect me. Show some style. Fight like a man. We are the guardian of justice. Freewind shall prevail.
You can't accept the fact we're not enemies, can you?
We always have been, and we always will be. Of all the evils that threaten mankind, your kind are the worst.
I'm not saying we could be friends, you and I. But perhaps we could collaborate to put an end to this epidemic.
Never! We are Priwen. We do not negotiate. We do not compromise.
There is no way you'll ever let me be, McCullum. You'll always hunt me down, won't you?
There is no escape, Leech. Kill me now. For there is no way you can sway me to your ideals.
That's where you're mistaken.
What do you mean?
I'll spare you, McCullum. I'll offer you the mercy you never offered me.
What is this ruse?
This is no ruse, McCullum. This is me letting you go. After all, you and I are both trying to save this poor country in our own way.
I'll kill you, Reed. Next time we meet, I'll end you.
See? Progress already. You called me by my name. Until the next time. Goodbye, Hunter. Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
My condition cannot be understood by you, mortal. This curse is beyond your science.
Well, until the day science finally admits failure, please accept this little contribution.
Thank you, Doctor. Your efforts are admirable, though laughable.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to you. So Priwen never left Doris's theater after they invaded. They must be holding Edgar here in their new headquarters. I have this thirst for blood. It's locked. It's locked, all right. It's locked. Doris Fletcher was about to become a disaster. I'm getting close to having all the evidence. Blood of a pure heart, garlic, blood of a king. I don't understand. Perhaps this is what McCullum drank. I had better keep that in mind. It's locked. It's locked, all right. Edgar. Edgar, can you hear me?
Jonathan, is it really you?
Easy. Easy. Save your strength. I'm getting you out of here.
Don't try to spare me. As a physician, I know all too well when it's too late. Punctured lung, broken ribs, and internal bleeding. An accurate diagnosis, wouldn't you say?
Edgar, what happened?
They wanted me to confess. Beat me black and blue.
Jeffrey McCullum ambushed me at the Pembroke Hospital. He was convinced you and I were responsible for the Skal epidemic.
I never imagined that self-righteous fanatic would dare to attack us in the open. What became of him?
To prove him wrong, I let him go.
Really? You sure that was the wisest course of action?
Time will tell. The most intriguing part of his accusation was that you and I were the pawns of some ancient vampire.
William Marshall. Yes, they tortured me to make me confess the same nonsense.
I trust you, Edgar, but the Guard of Priwen is onto something.
What do you mean?
William Marshall, for example. You speak of him as if you know him. How is that?
Jonathan, I cannot say I'm ready for another round of questions.
Why would the Guard of Priwen believe you and I created the vampire epidemic?
Maybe due to our profession. Because I offered you shelter in my hospital.
What can you tell me about William Marshall?
Not much. History paints the story he was the greatest knight who ever lived. Amongst the immortals, he had a yet greater legend.
Why is the Guard of Priwen so obsessed with him?
He was the only ancient vampire to escape the first great hunt launched by the Guard of Priwen in 1854. They believe he's an evil creature plotting his return.
Why would he deserve such a reputation?
I cannot say. The Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole has next to no intelligence on him. All I know is that he's supposed to be the oldest of all the British vampires.
While investigating the epidemic, I read some of McCullum's findings. I think you have some explaining to do.
I have nothing to hide, Jonathan. Nothing at all.
Do you know Doris Fletcher's real name?
No, I'm afraid not.
Her real name was Doris Jones. She was the daughter of Harriet Jones.
What do you want me to say, Jonathan?
Do you remember when we suspected Sean Hampton of killing Harriet Jones?
Yes. The terrible episode that came as a shock to us all.
Harriet Jones faked her own death. When I found her in the sewers, she confessed she wanted everybody to pay for what happened to her.
That woman was extremely bitter, full of hatred and festering anger.
Doris Fletcher visited her mother at the Pembroke Hospital. That's how she first got infected.
I know nothing about that. Miss Fletcher once came to visit the sick. That is all I know.
No, Edgar, there is more. Doris Fletcher was Harriet Jones's daughter. They exhibited the same symptoms: blind hate and strong physical mutation.
What does this sad story have to do with us?
Do you know where we are? Doris Fletcher's theater. This is where that hateful creature plotted to spread the epidemic across London.
I only briefly met Miss Fletcher once when she visited the Pembroke Hospital. You say it was to see her mother. She seemed like such a sweet and graceful woman.
My point exactly. The disease turned her into a bitter soul, driven by vengeance just like her mother. A symptom of all the infected patients.
Certain diseases are known to produce similar effects. Rabies, for example. And rabies is not the devil at work.
Come on, Edgar. Don't you see the pattern here? The epidemic, the link between Doris and Harriet, the suspicion of McCullum?
How could I? I never saw Harriet Jones again after she fled the hospital.
Doris and Harriet shared more than a hidden family bond. They were the embodiment of the epidemic and are linked to the Pembroke Hospital. Come on, Edgar, this is no coincidence.
I swear I'm at a complete loss. All I did was administer vampire blood to cure old Harriet. There was no evil plan, no diabolical plot.
You did what?
I tested the regenerating and healing properties of vampire blood on Harriet Jones. My only intention was to find the cure for influenza, I swear.
Whose blood did you use? William Marshall's? Mine?
Lady Ashbury's. While transfusing her with human blood, humanely appeasing her hunger, I also kept samples of her blood for my research.
You used her blood on Harriet Jones? My God, Edgar, that's unethical. You betrayed 2 of your patients at the same time.
Right, I admit it. I boldly ventured into experimental realms, but I've killed no one to appease my thirst for knowledge, Jonathan. I'm no murderer.
I never asked to become what I am, Edgar. You chose to conduct your rogue experiments.
You have worked beside me. You saw what I'm doing at Pembroke Hospital. Jonathan, you know I'm not an evil soul. Just another victim of this tragedy.
No, Edgar, you are not going to die. Unless you want to.
What do you mean?
I can save you, Edgar. I can turn your broken body into one like mine.
You truly would? After all I've done, after all that's been said, you would offer me this gift?
I have no way of knowing which punishment would be worse, Edgar. But it is not for me to decide. So?
Oh, please, Jonathan, please. I beg you. This is what I've always wanted. This is what I've always searched for.
Very well, then. Prepare to die and be reborn. To face an eternity of guilt.
I'm ready. Oh, indeed, I am ready.
Enough!
So Harriet Jones became the original carrier when Edgar gave her vampire blood. I must tell Elizabeth.
Crush the move! It's an angel! Die, vermin! Over there!
What good fortune brings you back to me, Jonathan? What is it, my dear?
I'm afraid it's bad news, Elizabeth. The worst, actually.
Please, speak up.
Edgar is no longer in McCullum's grasp. I resolved that matter.
Where is our good friend now? Is he well?
Of a sort. His injuries were mortal. I had no choice but to make him one of us. To save him. Or to punish him.
To punish him? I fail to understand. And what is the source of this cold tone in your voice?
Edgar Swansea was responsible for the Skull epidemic, Elizabeth. It was he who unleashed the deadly scourge upon London.
What? Are you certain? This is the most terrible accusation of all.
He confessed everything to me. He sought to cure the disease, to exploit vampire blood to stop the epidemic. But he unwittingly gave birth to a catastrophe.
All those poor victims. How could he do it? What happened?
Edgar's behavior was beyond lunacy. He had neither the discipline, knowledge, nor the proper facilities to conduct blood experiments.
I must say I'm shocked, Jonathan. Who would have thought it? And the poor patient. Let me guess. It was Harriet Jones, was it not?
Yes. That explains how Doris Fletcher was infected, and how she became an Icor. She secretly visited her mother at Pembroke.
Then we have no choice. We must act quickly, Jonathan. We must return to the sewers and put an end to the threat poor Harriet embodies.
I have one more matter to discuss with you. Harriet Jones was the primary case, but do you know what a healthy carrier is?
There is a tone in your voice that frightens me, Jonathan. What are you trying to say?
It was your blood Edgar used for his experiment on Harriet Jones.
What? No. No. This can't be. Oh.
Elizabeth. Are you all right?
No, I have to go.
What do you mean?
Leave me alone. Save the city, Jonathan. Save what can be saved.
Elizabeth, I need answers. Why did your blood
Stay
cause
away
this?
from me. Please. I swear I never was your enemy.
Wait! No! Elizabeth! Now would be a good time to blend the recipe Marshall used when he fought the disaster. I think I know where to find what I need. Whose blood could be purer than that of William Marshall? Lord Redgrave will have to spare me a drop. Good evening, Miss Ashbury.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Charlotte.
She's been quite...
Don't let any strangers come into your house.
Good evening, Miss Teasdale. How have you been since you returned home?
Dr. Reed. Oh, thank God you returned safely from these awful streets. I was so worried about my father that I left without thanking you properly.
Please don't mention it, miss.
Good. I found him, you know. My dad. Or what was left of him. I think my abductor intended to do the same thing to me.
Do you need my medical attention, miss?
I don't need your help specifically. I can assure you there are many competent doctors around.
I have no doubt about it, but I'm offering you my help anyway.
All right then. But please leave me alone for now.
Goodbye, Miss T.
Sir, you are not welcome